quick little bath, see if we can get it back to running 100% again. Check the inside for any signs of damage. Well, the receiver all looks true and square, no signs of foreign matter scuffing up the internal surfaces. Bore is remarkably clean. We'll go ahead and punch it out with a bore snake just to be safe. While we've got the time, just to show advantage of the XCR that not all guns have, it's the quick detach barrel, which lets us fully service check the gas system. Standard 1/4 inch Allen wrench. And the barrel and the gas system all come out, letting us get everything nice and clean, double check for damage. It's one of, to me, the biggest pluses of the XCR is the ability to fully function it, or to fully service it at the user level. No special armory tools required. Here you can see I'm working on the gas plug. Go ahead and take it out, clean it just to be safe. Robinson Armament has a 5-position gas adjustment, setting 4 for adverse conditions as we're using today, all the way down through a suppressor setting. My favorite way to clean the gas tube is a 12-gauge bore brush, or a bore snake. 2 passes through it and it'll be clean as new. Just that simple, 2 passes and it's good. The same 12-gauge bore snake works for the upper receiver. Help dry it out a little bit here real quick. Finish wiping out the upper, wipe down the bolt carrier, and we'll get her put back together and back in business. Once you got your barrel back in place, go ahead and turn it till it starts snugging up. As I start feeling tension, I like to just rock it back and forth and make sure it's all square. Get it initially seated. Factory spec recommends for 200 inch-pounds. I go to where I get a little give on the wrench and it's never come loose on me again. You can see it's a AK style operating system. Got your op rod, got your 3 lugs on your bolt, massive extractor. Everything's dirty, but not very gritty. I'm kind of surprised the mud test slowed it down, but that was some thick mud and we poured a lot of it in there, so give it a little bit of oil and get her put back together and see how she does. There you go, your upper receiver's back together. For normal field stripping, really not much to do on the lower, but wipe it down, get all the big chunks of debris off. And if you got access to an air compressor, some canned air, you can blow out the trigger group, but never had any problem with debris getting underneath the trigger, causing it to fail to reset or anything. As you can see, it got dirty. We still got mud hanging on there even after the bath. Alright, we'll go ahead and mate the upper and lower and run through what I do on a function test. Just make sure my weapon's good before it goes back in service. Paying a little more attention to the rear takedown latch. Not sure if that was operator error on my part. It does not seem to be seating all the way in this receiver, so let's take that apart and see if we can find out what the problem is. A little grit there in the takedown notch. Probably my mistake on this. I put together an upper and receiver combo that had never been together before today and never been fired together, so that might be part of the problem with the takedown latch. And give that just a little nudge with the hammer to seat it all the way. Say that was the problem. Two parts had not worn together and I was not getting the takedown latch fully seated, and that's why it popped open on the sand test. While we've got some time and some daylight, we'll go ahead and give that sand test another shot. So for a function test, I like to go ahead and rack the bolt, make sure everything's working. Go ahead and check my trigger, make sure it fires, make sure it resets, then make sure my safety works. Passes that, it's ready to go. So let's get eyes and ears in place, fire a couple dry, and then we'll get to the hammer test and then back to the sand test before the day runs out on us. Using the damp magazine from before, we haven't switched out anything real special. Seating our magazine, racking our weapon. She's back to working 100%. Going to go ahead and unload it because we don't want to be banging around on a loaded gun. There's been some concern about the exposed gas tube of the XCR SF configuration. We're going to see what kind of blows it can stand today and see if that affects its functioning. Got an 8-ounce hammer. Going to hit it moderately hard to start. Trying to hit it on the edge of the hammer. You can see we're scuffing up the finish, but not seeing any dents in it, not feeling any dents, so we're going to hit it a little harder. Starting to get a little bit of a ridge that we can feel in there. Not enough to affect functioning. We'll find out here in just a second. For good measure, we'll give it a few more. I don't know if the camera can focus, but you've got a second ridge here on the side. Pretty good hammer blows from an 8-ounce hammer. I think more impact than what you'll see in the field. But you can start to see a little bit of a dimple there. Let's see if it's enough to affect functioning. I think for those that are worried about field contact to the gas tube, I think it's an unnecessary concern. Repeated blows with a hammer in the same spot wasn't enough to keep it from functioning, so I think any knocks it's going to take in the field, it'll survive. We still got daylight, so we're going to repeat the sand test and see if it was my fault for not making the upper and lower receiver enough together. Right, we're back for the sand test round 2. Going to make sure and seat it in the sand that's already there. Let's go ahead and cover it again. As you can see, we're got the XCR in about 50 pounds of sand. We're going to grab it out and to see what happens now that the upper and lower receiver are firmly attached. If the operator does his part, make sure his gun's in a fully functional order. Everything's locked as it should. The XCR, given I think what we put it through today, sand test twice, water, beating on the gas tube. And you saw a pretty quick fire session. She's working good.